of network glitch. But we are back, so let's continue. So if I remember clearly, the question I was about answering before we had this network issue. Sorry, please, guys, join us back, and also tap on your screen to like this live. So the question I was about answering before we had this network issue was a question from Farm Connect that asked if I've noticed that a tomato plant is healthy in the morning and in few hours it started wilting and they die. And I was trying to explain some things. Okay, sorry guys. We have issue right this night. So I was trying to answer the question from Farm Connect about wilting. Now there are different things or a lot of things that can cause wilting. So if you're a tomato farmer, you've experienced wilting before. There are a lot of things that can cause wilting, ranging from water stress, um, fungal infestation, uh, pests, a lot of things that can also cause wilting. So before your tomato plant can show sign of wilting and die in a few hours, they must have been infected early, and there must have been sign in the tomato plants. Now, what you must understand is that the spread is fast. The spread is fast. If a tomato plant is infected and it is not treated, the spread of that particular hello Rania, hello, welcome. So the spread is very, very fast. So before you talk of wilting, there must have been sign, and you must have not paid attention. Sorry to say, you must have not paid attention to see the signs of wilting. To see the signs of there must be signs. It must show you signs. Now, the moment it begins to spread within your farm, that is when you begin to see maybe seeing your tomato plants healthy in the morning. The next minute they are drying up, they are wilting. The next minute they are dying. It is possible, but it must have shown you signs that this is present in your farm, and the cause will come from different places. One, I mentioned water stress. Two, I mentioned fungal infestation and pests. Okay, so the moment you see wilting, the best thing is to remove, not treat. That affected plants or the infected plants, as the case may be, remove from your farm. Remove it so that it doesn't spread to the other plants. Okay, so it's possible for you to see a tomato plant that is healthy this morning, and by evening of that same day, they've dried up and they are gone. It is possible. But what you have to do is, once you see that sign, remove that affected plant from your farm so that it doesn't spread across other plants. Okay. We have a message or a comment from Ozi Mamaga. Ozi Mamaga said, which one is better between calcium fertilizer that contains nitrogen, calcium, magnesium, and another that contains nitrogen, calcium, and boron? So it depends on what you are treating. When I say what you are treating, I mean it depends on what you are looking for. It depends on what you want to achieve. So I cannot just tell you that you can use fertilizer that contains calcium, contains nitrogen, magnesium, and other things, or use the one that have phosphorus, potassium, or even sulfur. No, I can't just tell you to use it. it depends on what you want to achieve. For instance, let me give a clear explanation. For instance, if I plant my tomato, for instance, today, if I transplant to the farm today, after 8 to 10 days, I would give them urea. Between 10 to 14 days, I'll give them urea. Urea is a fertilizer that contains high nitrogen, 46% nitrogen. I'll give them urea because at the age of that plant, they need that high nitrogen. It is important to them. So I'll give them high nitrogen at that first 2 weeks of after transplanting. Now, when they are 1 month or 6 weeks in the field, I cannot give them urea anymore that contains 46% nitrogen. No, they don't need that level of nitrogen anymore. What I will do is to give them a balanced fertilizer that is 15 15 15, which is nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. So I'll give them a balanced fertilizer at that age. Now, when they get to the stage that they started flowering and fruiting, at that age, I will now change to another fertilizer entirely. I'll give them fertilizer that contains 12, 12, 17, high potassium, because at the age they need high potassium that can help them to increase the number of to increase flowering, which in turn give me more fruits. So at that age, they need that high potassium. So it depends on what you want to achieve. And mind you, for instance, if I'm planting pepper, my pepper at first week after transplanting, I give them calcium. I give them calcium nitrate. Every week, calcium nitrate, because I know that the pepper needs high calcium. They need calcium. So I give them calcium because of what I want to achieve, and because I'm looking at the end goal, which is the product I will get at the end of the day, quality fruits. So that's why I will start from day one to give them calcium, to give them more calcium. So it depends on what you want to achieve. So Ozi Mamaga, I hope you understand what I'm saying. Now, if at the age of the plant that they are flowering, and I realize that I have so many of my flowers falling off, what I will do is to give them a foliar fertilizer that contains boron, because boron helps to correct that deficiency. You understand? So at that age that they are flowering, I'm seeing that a lot of my flowers are falling off. What I will do is to give them a fertilizer that contains boron. So it depends on what you want to achieve. It depends on what you are looking for. So for every age of a plant, there are different level of nutrients that they need. When they get to a stage when they need more of trace elements, as you mentioned, magnesium, boron, sulfur, manganese, all those trace elements, at the age where they need it, you give them fertilizers that contains those trace elements. So I can't tell you that it is better to use nitrogen, calcium, magnesium fertilizer as against using nitrogen, calcium, and boron. No, it all boils down to what you want to achieve. Okay, Joy, hello, I'm very, very fine. I'm doing great. Please, guys, make sure you tap on the screen to like this live so that many other people can also get notified about our live session. So I will be taking more questions from our previous video. to get some questions. Okay, I have a question from Sodiq. The questions from Sodiq. Sodiq said, if you plant pepper in a particular land for a whole year, can you plant pepper on that land again the following year? The answer is no. There is no way you will plant pepper in a particular land and you spend a whole year nursing the pepper, and they have grown and you harvested in a whole year, and you terminate that pepper and replant pepper on that same land. It is not advisable. That does not mean that it's not possible. Don't get me wrong. That does not mean that it's not possible, but it is not advisable. Okay? It is not advisable. So it is better to practice crop rotation. You can plant something else on that land. This practice also save you a lot of stress. Why do I say so? When you have pepper on a land for this year, and in the next farming season, you decide to plant the same crop again, what that will do is that the pests that are predominant in that space because of that crop, they are already there. So before you can say jack, they are already started attacking your plant because they already know that there is an existing plant in this place which we feed on. So before you even start planting, before you even start seeing anything, they already close. Their habitat is there already. But when you practice, this is a natural way of dealing with pests. This is an expo, a natural way of dealing with pests. So, but when you rotate your crops, after doing pepper, the next planting season, you plant something else, plant maybe cucumber, something different. So it controls the controls pests for you naturally. So it's not advisable to repeat the same crop on the same space, the same like back to back. But if it's in a greenhouse, you can do that. But what it means that because the greenhouse is mostly you use a substrate to plant, that means if you are terminating a particular pepper, a particular plant, you are taking out everything in that greenhouse. You are taking out everything, both the soil that you used, everything is going out, and you are bringing a new set of materials. So that will work. But if it's in an open field or a land, no, it is not advisable. Now, I have another question from the same Sadiq asked, how many minutes or hour do you irrigate in a day? How many minutes or hour do you irrigate in a day? Now, in that question, I answered 2 hours. Now, this particular question or the answer I gave is not peculiar to the answer is different because the number of hours or the number of minutes you water your plants depends on the crop and the size of the farm. Okay? Depends on the crop and the size of the farm. So if I'm watering my farm for 2 hours, it depends on the size of my farm and the crop that I'm watering. So what I always advise my mentees is when you are watering your farm work is not by keeping to time. I water it for 45 minutes or I will do it for 5 hours or no. You must learn to observe. Because when you water your farm, when the water is too much, it affects your plants. If the water is less, it affects your plants. So it must be in a moderate quantity. So what do? If I'm watering my farm, I'm always quick to assess, quick to check the level of water in the plants. I always want to check the level of water in the soil. So by dipping my hand in the soil. So you must observe. So if in 30 minutes or in 1 hour I'm able to get what I want and the soil is wet enough, then I just have to off my water because I've gotten what I need. Sometimes in 2 hours, because of the season as well, maybe it's dry season, because of the season, it might take longer time to get your farm to have enough water for your plant for the day. So this question is not straightforward. It depends on the plants you're watering and the size of the farm. Guys, just give me 1 minute. I'm coming back. Sorry guys, I had to check up something. No, now the question we have here is we have another question from Obi Uche. From Obi Uche. Obi Uche said, please, which variety of tomato do you plant? Tomato farming are for the strong and experienced. Obi Uche, that is absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Now, the comments are in two ways. Yeah, there is a question and there is a remark. The question is, please, which variety of tomato did you plant? What I planted in this batch that we are harvesting now is Cobra 26F1. One thing you must know about my channel and my videos is that I don't hide what I do. I tell you the variety, I tell you the quantity, the quality of what I get from that variety, and I also tell you the quantity or the size of the project I'm doing. So the variety I planted this time around is Cobra 26F1, and it's a very good variety, no doubt, very good variety. If you maintain the word, they will give you something nice. Okay. Now the second comment is tomato farming are for the strong and experienced. That is absolutely correct. Tomato farming, you need to have the experience, you need to have the skill, and you need to be strong as well and patient. Guys, please make sure you like this live. Touch on your screen to like this live so that YouTube can push this live to other people that can also connect with us, and also try to give us a thumbs up as well. Like this video, like this live, so that YouTube can push it to other persons, and you can as well give us share us a super chat. Is there right now? Give us a super chat and also become part of the community as well. So tomato farming is for the strong and for the experienced, but it is also important to know that experience does not fall from anywhere. Experience comes with working. You must work on it. You must try it. You must grow in it before you gain that experience. You cannot just gain that experience by just reading the books, by just theories. You need to go to the farm and fail sometimes, learn and grow, then the experience will come. You understand? So it is not for the weak, it is not for the, it is for the experienced, true, but you must start first and gain those experiences. Okay. Now another comment again, trying to look out for another comment. This comment is from media splashed, and he said, "Thank you for this video. I want to ask, what size of land, what size of this land space?" I mean, trying to ask the size of land I did. This comment is in the pumpkin video I did when I did how I made over 1.4 million naira in pumpkin farming, and I used 300 square meters, just close to one plot of land for that particular project, close to a plot of land for that project. Okay. Now I have another question from Olusegun Phil. Olusegun Phil said in one of my videos, he said, I think in my yam video, I harvested my yam a few weeks ago. He said, "Boss, you too much. How are you getting land for all these crops?" You know, I have different varieties of crops, and he's asking, how do I get land to plant all these crops? Now there are several ways of getting a farmland to work on. That's the truth. There are several ways of doing that. You can acquire a land by purchasing it, as buying the land, and you can also acquire a land through rent. So it's not something difficult. Getting a land is not something difficult. I don't mean buying a land. I mean getting a land to work, to farm. It's not something difficult. I believe so, because most of the land I use, a few of them are not mine per se. A few of them are rented lands, while some other ones are my property. But a few of them, and I actually started farming with a rented land. The first farm I did, first project I did, was on a rented land. I think I paid 40,000 for a year for that land. So you can get land. It's not difficult. If you are ready to farm, you can get land for rent. Just pay a certain amount, and you start working. At the end of the year, you renew your rent, or you now have money to now buy a property, and you own it as your own property, as your own land. So it is not a must that you must buy that land before you can start farming. So long as it is farming that you may not build a structure on it, it's just to farm, plant your tomato, or do your pepper, or do your any crops at all. So there are ways of getting land. It's not a must that you must buy the land. You can rent the land, and that will go a long way helping you. So because getting the land now is not easy to buy land. So you don't need to wait until you have the money to buy a land before you start farming. I started my first project on a rented land. Okay, so if you're asking how I get land for all these crops, most of the land I use, I pay rent for them, while some of them I own. Okay. Another comment again from Patrick Omo. Patrick Omo asked, please, how many plots or acre gives you this massive harvest? And this question comes from the video, the watermelon video I posted a few weeks ago, when we harvested. We had our massive watermelon harvest, and I posted the video, and Patrick Omo commented, how was I able, or how many plots did I use to get this massive harvest? And to be frank, is approximately 4 plots of land, because it's three and a half and something fractions of the land. So it's just call it 4 plots of land. That's what we used for that watermelon project. It's just 4 plots, and it was amazing. We're still harvesting watermelon, by the way. We're still harvesting till today, and it was amazing. So Patrick Omo, what we used for that project Other watermelon is just 4 plots. Guys, if you're joining this live, please do well to click on your screen to like this live so that YouTube can forward it and also move it to other viewers that would want to watch, want to join our live stream. And do well to also gift us super chat or super thanks. I don't know what it's called, but any of them, super chat, super thanks, do well to gift us the super thanks and super chat. It's a way to encourage us and also help us also do more videos. Sadiq, welcome. Good evening. Harold McKelly. Hello, Harold McKelly. Hello. And good evening, Sadiq Tunde 04. All right. So I'll now go to more questions before we end the live session. Go to more questions. I have this comment in one of our videos. This is from Dayo Alabi. This is from Dayo Alabi. Dayo Alabi said, "I'm following your footstep too. You recommend jewelry seed for which I planted on 14th of November. They have picked up well. I noticed your harvest are massive. Any tips to get massive size like yours, sir?" He now mentioned he applied DAP, manure, and workforce before planting. Hope to apply necessary and all those things he did. And then he now said, any advice for the most preferred between potassium nitrate and MOP? I like this question. Now, Dayo Alabi have been a follower of our channel. For him to ask this question, he's been a follower of our channel, and he said, "I've been following my steps." And he also, I think this comment was in the watermelon video I posted as well. And he said he planted his own watermelon on the 14th of November. And I know by now, Dayo, I know that your watermelon should be doing very, very well, and you're expecting to start seeing flowers and fruits as well. So his question now is, any advice for the most preferred between potassium nitrate and MOP? The both of them are potassium fertilizers, but I would prefer to use potassium nitrate. MOPs can be used before planting, more or less before planting, and also during rainy season. You can do surface dressing for MOP, but I would prefer to use potassium nitrate, then, because I would always spray potassium nitrate on the leaves of my watermelon. There is no restriction of I need to have enough water in the soil for the MOP to decompose or to dissolve before it can start working. I can always apply my potassium nitrate on the leaves because it is soluble. Just mix it with water and I apply. Another thing again is that it contains some portion of nitrogen, and your plants will always need nitrogen, if not in high dose, but in little dose, depending on the age of the plants. So potassium nitrate plays a role of potassium and having to boost flowering. Obviously, it helps to determine the number of fruit that will come from your plant at the end of the day. So if you have quality flowers, that means you're expecting more fruiting, and it also depends on the way you treat your plant. and potassium nitrate, both contains potassium. That is the underlying nutrient there is potassium, and both of them have potassium. But if I should pick, I will pick potassium nitrate, because in this video that Dayo Alabi commented, it's my watermelon video, and it's asking about watermelon. And what I did in that watermelon farm, I did not use MOP. I recommend what I have used and what worked for me. Okay, so for me, I always go with potassium nitrate. MOP can also do the work because it also contains potassium as well. Guys, please make sure you are tapping on your screen, like this live, so that YouTube can recommend it to other viewers to join. And make sure you tap on that gift button. Tap on that gift button and gift us super thanks and be super chat. I'm not familiar with the... So guys, I think we are 33 minutes gone in this live session, and I have a lot of questions here. But I will stop here for this evening, and we'll come back maybe tomorrow or within the week, next week, for another live session where I will still discuss and answer more of your questions. If you have any question, don't mind that the live session is over. You can always drop your comments or your questions, and I will do well to respond. Until then, see you guys in our live session tomorrow or within the week. Bye for now.